enterprises, these reality present even a greater challenge. Many businesses operate with limited financial reserve and lean operational structures. And that's why there's a lot of innovation in the space. And you look at what Coronation is doing, where they're looking at how do you use Momo to support and even attract and work with MSMEs. I've pushed for the insurance sector to really do more to support MSMEs, because if they're able to support and provide the needed and help de-risk a lot of the work that business owners do, it would create and stimulate innovation. It would give the business owner the opportunity to step back and really envision the future in a better way, in a way that it hasn't even thought about. Too often, entrepreneurs devote enormous energy to expanding their businesses alone. These are some of the things that we have to pay attention to. But in expansion comes with risk, and with risk comes with the attention and the need to prepare and protect what you've already built. So even though we celebrate opening branches, increasing sales, introducing new products, we also need to consider the sustainability of what exists and the protection of what we have, not only for ourselves, but also for the future generation, for our children, for the community we serve, for those that we are employing. How do we prepare for risk? It all begins with an honest answer and an honest question from all of us as businesses or business owners, or even through associations to the people that you serve. What events could interrupt your operations? What are those assets that are most critical to our business? And so, as we listened earlier on to the commercial about the BPI, where it spoke about what it is, why it's important to ensure against flood and fires, the question then comes, what is it that you might want to protect? And what kind of risk are you preventing from happening or occurring? So are these assets available in the organizations that we work with, the businesses we own and run? Do we have the systems to enable us to continue operating during difficult times? So your assets, the tools you're using, the people you're working with, yourself, how are you protecting yourself? So business is important. It also goes beyond that to the people who you are. What are the goods that you're selling? If you're selling goods, what is it that you are protecting? And how do you protect those goods? So that in the future, as we talk again and take us back to the theme of protecting our businesses, we know exactly what it is that we are protecting. So for MSMEs, the question begs, and the question that keeps coming up is, how does one prepare for the risk? An equally important aspect of resilience and really protecting that risk is recognizing that not every risk can or should be carried by the business alone. Some risks are better transferred through appropriate insurance solutions that I mentioned, through planning, through preparation, and around the world, businesses of every side incorporate insurance into their broader risk management strategies. Not because they expect the worst, but because they understand the value of being prepared. Some might say that I've heard this over and over again. There's always this conversation around risk. There's a conversation about why I need to be prepared. I've heard this over and over again. But then the question and what we see when we go on the ground is that even though you've heard it, are you taking that bold step and actually acting on what you've heard? This is why conversations such as today's webinar are so valuable, because we need to continue to tell you and show businesses that this is how it should be done. We need to encourage entrepreneurs to think beyond day-to-day operations and consider the long-term sustainability of their enterprises. They also provide an opportunity to better understand the practical solutions that are available to businesses. The businesses and the solutions they need are very practical. These include products that, as I mentioned, which have been spoken about earlier through the commercial on business protection insurance, which has been developed to help safeguard businesses against the common operational risk. It is important, and now more than ever before, it is important to protect your businesses, to ensure that you are de-risking those assets and businesses so that you can free yourself to do so much more. And when these risks occur, you then have the needed tools to be able to move forward instead of sit back and start from ground zero. As entrepreneurs, we naturally focus on growth, as I mentioned, but we need to move beyond that. Let's invest and believe in tomorrow, because tomorrow is very important. Now more than ever, there's a saying in Ghana that Abrantie sika nye sika, which is today, right? And I use that, which means in English that a young man or woman's money now is no money. And when we look at that to make the decisions of today and don't think forward about the future and how in our old age we might have and need these SMEs that we have, but because we fail to plan and prepare and invest in those businesses, we lost everything. We need to preserve what we have. Confidence in our business comes from preparation. When preparation meets opportunity, businesses become stronger. When resilience becomes part of an organization's culture, uncertainty becomes easier to navigate. And when business owners commit to protecting what they've built, they create enterprises capable of serving future generations. And you can't do it alone. That's why there are various offers and organizations and businesses, Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited, convening these conversations because they understand the impact on the personal lives of people. Think about it. You've been in business for 20 years. You've been producing, let's say, fruit juice for years. One day there's a fire in your cottage or small business and everything burns to the ground. There are two scenarios. You have the opportunity of having insured your business, and through that insurance, you can go to the insurance company and said, I'm part of the business protection insurance. So how do I get my equipment back? How do I get working capital? How do I get support? And through that and through your insurance, you're supported to build back. And there's another scenario where you did not insure your business. You have 5 children, a wife to take care of. You have a mother or a father. You have school fees to pay, but you didn't insure your business. You used what you could have insured to do other things, and today there's nothing to show for it. The decision lies with you. And I thank Coronation Insurance for convening this important decision because we need to look at these two scenarios and as businesses, think about what the future might hold. What are the risks ahead of us and how do we protect our businesses so that we can grow the nation and the business and the people that we support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Kosi. I cannot say this enough. You have indeed hit on the main highlights of this engagement, and you have gone beyond even setting the tone for our panel discussion. When I started introducing her, I said that she has the experience that spans financial institutions, government agencies, development organizations, and so on, and you can tell that she has done this beautifully for us. If you can give her a round of applause, please, I would appreciate that you do. But once again, Madam Kosi, we are most excited that you have been able to break down this topic for us. It's indeed exhilarating. I took some points while you were speaking, and I'd like to share it with everybody else. You mentioned that by not preparing, we have actually prepared to fail. That was in your opening remarks. If we do not prepare, we have prepared to fail. Then also you mentioned that our markets our markets are not just markets or selling places. They include businesses, MSMEs, SMEs, and so on. They are all in there. And actually, our markets embody the very sector or every sector of our economy. And by extension, it actually embodies the livelihoods of millions of Ghanaians. So a market space is not just a business center, but it's actually the whole country that has come together for business. It's amazing how you explained that to us. Thank you so much once again. A month ago, disaster hit us. I think that was on 29 June. We were struck by floods all across Accra and even beyond. And then we saw what we haven't seen in decades. And it's very important to link that to the conversations that we are having today. The impact and how many people plan for it. It's a lengthy conversation. Ghana spoke about it for weeks. And then we took more than a month to even recover from it, and some are still yet recovering. But you mentioned again that no business owner can accurately predict the future. we can predict, but we cannot accurately predict it. Now, what we can do and do very well is that we can definitely plan, or we can prepare for it. And that is one of the reasons that we are going to have this discussion here. Opening branches, increasing sales, and expanding our businesses is good as we prepare for those activities of our business. And then let's also remember to prepare that events could hit us, and we will need to know how these events that come up can interrupt our businesses. So, for example, how bad can a flood interrupt your business? How badly can fire interrupt your business? And these are the things that provoke our thoughts as we delve deeper into today's discussion. Now more than ever, it's important to protect your business, looking at the kind of risk that are evolving around our businesses. As our businesses grow, risk also grow, and this is the time to start talking about these things. Then you give us the scenarios before you ended. You give us the scenarios of when a business is insured and faced uncertainties, and then when one is not insured. And while you were talking about that, my mind went quickly to the fact that in our economy, or in this part of the world, one havoc is followed by another, which is followed by another. Where you see flood, you see fire.
Exactly, right?
Fire, you see theft, and it's very difficult to recover from these situations. But one thing that you said that I wrote down and I've underlined twice is that abranteɛ sika anyɛ sika. As we go deeper into the conversations, I'm sure that we would be able to stress more on what these things actually mean to the ordinary Ghanaian, to an upcoming SME, to an SME that has grown into a full-fledged multinational business, and to researchers and to product developers that are around this topic. Thank you once again very much, Madam Kosi. That was insightful and thought-provoking. The ability of a business to survive uncertainty depends on preparation, awareness, and the willingness to invest in systems that protect what has been built. I'll say that to shorten everything. Once again, if you can give a round of applause, please do. You can indicate that in the reactions, or you can put a comment in the section. Thank you so much once again. But before we go into discussion, I would like us to take a few commercials and then we go there. But before then, let me mention that the importance of understanding business risk early, the need for stronger financial discipline and planning, the role of technology in creating opportunities while managing new risk, the importance of partnership in supporting SMEs, and then the most important of all, the need for businesses to build resilience is what will lead the conversations when we come back and we go into the panel discussions. Thank you very much.
Running a business comes with challenges, but protecting it shouldn't be one of them. That's why we bring you the Coronation Business Protection Insurance, a tailored business protection policy. Business Protection Insurance offers fire and allied peril, flood and theft, and personal accident covers. Choose from 4 flexible bundle options designed to suit your business needs. Follow these simple steps to sign up. Step 1. Dial *170# to access the MTN Momo menu. Select option 5, Financial Services. Choose option 5, Insurance. Select option 8, Coronation Insurance. Step 2, Customer Registration. Select option 1 to register. Enter your business name and select option 1 to continue. Enter your business location and select option 1 to proceed. Final step, Plan Selection and Confirmation. Choose option 1 for the basic plan. Review the outline plan details, including your name, and select option 1 to confirm. A prompt will be sent to your phone to approve the debit of the premium. Once registered, you will receive a policy number via SMS from Coronation Insurance. A representative will confirm your inventory details, and coverage begins immediately after payment. Stock confirmation is completed within 5 working days. Get a business protection insurance today with Coronation.
Ready to secure your hustle? Here's how to purchase your Coronation Business Protection Insurance in a few easy steps. Step 1. Open the MTN Momo app and log into your account. Step 2. Tap Financial Services, then select Insure. Step 3. Choose Coronation Insurance and tap Get Started. Step 4. Complete the registration form by entering the required business and personal details. Step 5. Review the available business protection insurance plans and select the cover that best suits your business. Step 6. Confirm your details and authorize payment directly from your Momo wallet. Step 7. Receive instant confirmation of your policy activation. Step 8. Download your policy documents directly from the app and enjoy peace of mind knowing your business is protected.
All right, so thanks for hanging in there. We are back to continue our program for today. Abranteɛ Sika Nyɛ Sika. From that interesting keynote address, we would go over to our panel discussion and to get the themes that will stand out for our panel discussion. We would want to talk about the importance of understanding business risk early, the need for stronger financial discipline and planning, the role of technology in creating opportunities while managing new risk, the importance of partnerships in supporting SMEs, and most importantly, the need for businesses to build resilience. We are talking about this in the context of the Ghanaian economy and even beyond, and we have some subject matter experts who will help us to explore these issues further and hear practical perspectives from experts, from their experts' knowledge across banking, finance, fintech, SME development, and insurance. Remember that the theme for today's webinar is protecting your business, preparing for the risk every business owner faces. You can catch us on LinkedIn, you can catch us on Facebook, you can catch us on YouTube, join us on X and Instagram. And of course, if you're joining us here on Zoom, please do well to share the link with your friends, families. Let them join the conversation. The questions section is also open. You can drop your questions to us and then we'll get it over to panelists to be able to give us some insights on the areas. It says also important to note that this is brought to you by Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited. Coronation is not just your general insurance company, but it is here to provide you with risk advisory services on how to manage the risk around your business, not just to sell the product to you. So do get in touch with us. We are found on the 35 Aviation Road Airport Residential Area next to Nyahu Hospital, and we have been here for nearly 2 decades and still going. We have a strong partnership with financial institutions and then other technical service experts that can give you the protection that you need for your business. So we'll go into the panel discussions and we would want to, once again, I say, focus on how businesses can identify, prepare for, and protect themselves against the risk that threaten their sustainability. Joining me on the panel this morning, I am delighted to introduce Madam Eugenia Addo. Madam Eugenia Addo is the head of SME Enablement and Partnerships at Access Bank Ghana PLC. Madam Eugenia brings extensive experience in SME strategy, financial solutions, innovations, and enterprise development. I also have on the call to help me in the panel discussion a senior manager at Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited. He's in charge of bank assurance and financial institution partnerships. Enoch has over 20 years of experience in insurance, bank assurance especially, sales partnerships and strategic business development practices. I have on the call Mr. Enoch Akwa. He would be joining Madam Eugenia Addo for that. I also have from the MTN Mobile Money Limited, I have the financial services manager. He brings his expertise across fintech operations, sustainable finance, digital innovation, and financial inclusion. And his name is Mr. Maxwell Dawson. Once again, he's the manager for financial services at MTN Mobile Money Limited. And then, of course, we also have in our panel the amazing lady that we just heard from. Her name is Madame Kosi Yankee Aye. She is the founding CEO of Ghana Enterprises Agency. She's played a transformative role in supporting MSMEs, entrepreneurship development, and job creation. She's currently the vice president for Africa, United Way Worldwide, and the founding, like I mentioned, the founding CEO of Ghana Enterprises Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the conversations, I'd like to also mention that there's a poll coming up, and it would help us to, it will help the panel understand where your pain points are, or where your mind wants to go when it comes to discussing the subject of risk around our businesses. Join us on our social media platforms and call in, and let's have your questions to help the conversations. So I think we are ready. I would like to introduce the poll. It will take you just about half a minute to complete the poll. So take about half a minute to complete the poll, and then we will continue with our discussion. Thank you. So thank you very much for hanging in there, and thank you for taking a minute to complete our polls. And your feedback has given us the information that we need to go into the next part of our program. Once again, I'd like to say welcome to all the panelists, and I would want to begin having the conversations with Madame Kosi. Madame Kosi, I'd like you to share your perspectives on this. SMEs are the backbone of Ghana's economy. I picked that up from your earlier presentations, but we realize that yet many struggle to survive beyond their first few years when they come into the business. From your perspective, what are the biggest risks threatening the sustainability and growth of MSMEs or SMEs today? Thank you.
So thank you, Nii. You're right. A lot of the data suggests the same, and actually says the same, that many businesses struggle to survive beyond their first few years. And there are a lot of reasons, and I'll just want to really hammer and mention 5 of them clearly, some of which I spoke during my conversation. But the first and most important one that is threatening their sustainability is technological change. Now more than ever, technology is really impacting negatively. It's impacting positively, but also if the owners of these businesses are not changing and learning and actually utilizing the tools of technology, they're being disadvantaged. So not that technology itself is bad, but it's the knowledge, the know-how, and what to use it for that is impacting the survival of a lot of these businesses. And so more has to be done in that area to support these vulnerabilities that especially a lot of the SMEs in this part of the world are facing when it comes to technology. The second is also, when you pay attention, is not preparing, which is the conversation that is what today's conversation is centered on. And so they are not being sustainable because they're not preparing for the future. And as I mentioned earlier, if you don't prepare, you're preparing to fail. And it happens so quickly in the blink of an eye before you can say, Jack, it's happened. So what is it that is making them fail at this? businesses that are intentionally building resilience into their businesses, or realizing that what they do has changed and the environment around it has changed, and are taking, the insurance against the risk of the future, see that they're becoming stronger and actually have a probability of extending beyond what the data is really saying, because the floods are happening more than often. We've mentioned it. When you have a business in Ghana, even the rest of the world, there's a lot of theft. When you have goods in the warehouse, people are stealing those goods. It could be your staff, it could not be your staff, it could be an external person. And so internally, these risks of not ensuring the probability of theft happening, fires happening, flood happening and destroying the goods. We all saw on TV people's products on the Tema motorway with being dragged along. If they had really insured it, right, they maybe, I don't know what the company is, and I'm not talking about the company personally, but an SME who might not have all the capital to go back and start up will die immediately. And we see a lot of that happening. One major event, one even simple event, and they're out of businesses. And all of this is really linked to what I call the climate-led or related events that are also causing people who are doing agribusinesses to see changes in even agricultural patterns, right? So besides the weather just happening and destroying products that exist, is even when crops are going to grow. And so yet they're struggling to survive in these businesses because they're not factoring in some of these unforeseen things that they would have paid attention if they knew that, okay, if I move the bottle from here to the next level, it's going to become better. There's also a lot of financial vulnerability that happens. Many small businesses operate with limited cash reserves through no fault of theirs, right? Our system is difficult in finding access to funding, no matter the interest rates that it might even exist within a system, but it's the accessibility, being accessible to the people who need it the most. So it makes it difficult for them to move from one level to another. And so when they continue to stay at the same level of maybe a micro or a small business for a long time and have utilized all their working capital, reinvested it, used it then to pay school fees and all other things, these vulnerabilities really negatively impact their finances and cannot survive beyond the limit. And in some cases, you can actually also insure against some of these financial vulnerabilities. And so what exists, getting them to know and understand that these things exist. And last but not least is regulations. For a lot of some of these SMEs, they are burdened with all these regulations, right? And there are new ones that keep coming up that they don't even know about. And so how do they actually go around some of them? How do they meet them? How do they build good relationships with these regulators so that they're not antagonized? That actually allows them to give up and say, I give up. I know a business woman who called me to tell me that through all these regulations and having lost some of her staff or her products through theft, she's given up. She's tired. She's just going to find another job and do and see if she can survive through there. So these are some of the challenges that are causing the pain of a lot of SMEs. The SMEs that are the backbone of our economy, the risk that they are facing that is threatening their sustainability in the long term. And some of these can actually be addressed if we're utilizing some insurance products or even giving access to information and supporting these SMEs.
Thank you very much, Madam. You're absolutely right. What I find interesting about your response to this is the fact that the usual culprits in this conversation, when we talk about the biggest risk threatening sustainability and growth of SMEs today, you usually hear people talk about competition or customer experience. And today, it tells you how much businesses have evolved or how the business landscape has gotten complicated. Today, we are talking about technology. We are talking about preparedness. We are even talking about climate-related risk and so on. And once upon a time, we thought these were very far away from us. Today, they are here with us and we are facing the effects. I mean, we are day-to-day trying to recover from these issues. Then, of course, you mentioned financial vulnerabilities and access to funding. And that part of the conversation, like you said, becomes a bit bit more apparent when we see that even after a loss or even after you've suffered a risk, recovering in terms of financial capabilities becomes the biggest challenge. And then, of course, the regulations that you mentioned. Thank you very much for that response. I understand the perspectives there, but to add a bit more to it, I would want to move to the other panelists, and then I'd go to Mr. Enoch Akwa, and I would want to find out from Enoch. Many business owners today focus heavily on growing their businesses, like I said, but they pay limited attention to protecting what they have built so far. Why do you think business protection is often overlooked, and how can we encourage SMEs, MSMEs to adopt a stronger risk management mindset away from the traditional risk approaches that they have to their business? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nee. A very, very great presentation by Madam Kosi Yankee. Like you rightly said, businesses in Ghana, especially, will be in a better position if they have a form of insurance for the risks that are associated with their businesses. We often see that most of these SMEs focus more of their attention on the skills that is required for them to succeed in their trade, the financial sourcing, how they can get capital to drive their businesses, how they can get support from employees, people who will manage their businesses for them to sort of grow what they have started. What often we don't see is the risk management aspect, and that is also very, very key in that it's not as if the risk is far from them or it's quite remote. No, we often see and hear news about fires in markets, rainstorms that have ravaged people's shops and offices and buildings, floods that have destroyed what people have built years to establish. And the good thing is that insurance as a risk mitigation measure is available to compensate the person or restore whoever sustains certain losses due to all these perils or calamities that could befall any businesses. Therefore, it is very, very important and very key for every SME as part of their business planning to add this insurance bit to their plan and make funds available to cater for it. The good thing about insurance is that it charges you just a little fraction of the premium you pay for the risk that you transfer to the insurance people. So I don't see why an SME, a business owner, will refuse to invest in this very important aspect of their business. This risk management aspect is so important, just as investing to win customers or to develop a market. It is also very, very important because all that you build could be wiped off in just a day without any prompting to you, and you will be back to let's say your zero position where you began everything from, and you would have to then start thinking about how you are going to start everything all over again, how you are going to set up all your business over again. And I don't think anybody wants that. If because if that happens, then it means, like Kosi said, you are planning to fail. So I think that it is very, very important that our SMEs add insurance to their business planning from now onwards, so that at least you know that your business is safe, you always have peace of mind. You will not worry about the vagaries of the weather or any risk that can occur to your business. And the good thing about business protection insurance is that it's not even just about your business, but it's about you, the individual. For most business owners, you are the alpha and omega of your business. If you are not there, your business does not move. So any injury that can, or any accident that can keep you away from your business for some days or weeks or months will be a big blow to your business. And the good thing is that for business protection insurance, your personal accident is also covered, so that any injury that happens to you, you know that you can get some compensation from Coronation Insurance for it. So this is very important. This webinar is very, very timely for Ghanaian businesses. And I think that SMEs should take advantage of this and then add it to whatever plans they have for their business. Thank you very much, Nee.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Inokakwa. I like that you went straight to the point to talk about insurance, and that being the solution to encourage SMEs to adopt a stronger risk management mindset. And I like that. I picked a few things from what you said, which I would want to also bring back to you later on. You mentioned something about business protection insurance. Later, I'll come to you and then you delve into how business protection insurance works. But it's important to note before I go on to my next question, the fact that you're saying that insurance charges a small amount, and this should be factored into every business plan. Which is great. And it kind of also throws more light on the earlier asked questions about how we can talk about sustainability and growth. But you say it's not just about the business. When the risk occurs, not just about the business, but it's about the individuals behind the business and the fact that they also need some form of protection. I even see that beyond that, you're not talking about these individuals, but you're looking at their dependents and then the economies, the societies that depend on these people to also get a livelihood. And so that's very good insights there. Thank you very much again, Mr. Inokakwa. I want to go over to Mr. Maxwell Dawson at this time. And Mr. Dawson, maybe you want to tell us, digital platforms have transformed how SMEs operate these days. We transact and assess customers and then manage our finances through these digital platforms. How can technology in this conversation help make business protection and financial resilience and access to support services more accessible to entrepreneurs? Could you please throw more light on that for us? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nee, and thank you, Kosi and Alfred. So, sorry, Enoch, like you've mentioned, traditionally we know that insurance companies are viewed as very meticulous and cumbersome, right? But what technology does is that it takes away the barriers that prevent small businesses, like the guy selling shoes, like the woman in KJTR trying to sell her wares, like the young lady who finished school and is trying to put together a poultry business. The business protection, which was yesterday not accessible to them, today they can buy it using their mobile phone, right? And what Coronation has done even is that the barrier of yesterday having to walk to an office or speak to an agent, fill paper forms, that cumbersome process has all been dealt with by just using technology, integrating the technology into mobile payments. Somebody can sit in their home, sit at their office, and just at the dial of a button, buy a business protection insurance. That is what technology has done. Technology, I would say, has democratized how financial services are available. It has made it more accessible. So from your home, from your office, anywhere, it has made it more affordable because, like you and I know, if an agent was in between this transaction, an agent would be paid commission. But because you've made this product more directly accessible to the consumer, that cost has been taken off and has been factored into the pricing. That makes the policy more accessible. And the convenience, the challenges about climate change that Kosi has mentioned this year with us, the opportunity to today take up your phone and protect your business and yourself is one that I say that businesses must not take for granted. And all this has happened because technology has enabled it, right? Beyond these, entrepreneurs have opportunity to enable digital payments, right? So if an entrepreneur, for example, had a merchant wallet, they could track their finances, they could track what they spend money on, and it would help them make decisions that are no longer on a dope cloud. That is very evidence-based and data-driven. So that's also one thing that technology has done. So in a nutshell, I'll say that what young persons, what small businesses could not do, because those solutions were yesterday only available to, say, an Access Bank or an MTN Momo, these solutions have been made available to these small businesses by the power of technology. So like we mentioned, technology is a barrier, but it is an enabler as well. And I think that if we tilt more to the advantages it brings, SMEs can take advantage of technology to do amazing stuff. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dawson. Amazing insights there too. Once again, I picked that technology democratizes accessibility. And if there's accessibility, for all SMEs, MSMEs, why not adopt? It's brought these products, these services, to our doorsteps, and then we are able to assess protection for our businesses. So much as we are looking at adopting technology and the risk, and we are afraid about the risk that is attached to these things, we should know that we need to prepare. And in preparing, we include technology in the preparation of our business plans, such that we are able to take advantage of technology before technology takes advantage of us. Thank you very much, Mr. Dawson. And that's what takes me to Madame Eugenia Addo. Madame Eugenia Addo is the head of SME Banking at Access Bank. Madame, welcome once again to the call, and I would want to find out from your perspective, how important are risk management practices, financial discipline, and insurance protection when assessing SMEs of financing or investments? Once again, I'll ask your perspective on how important risk management practices are, financial discipline, and insurance protection when assessing SMEs for financing or investments. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nee. And let me say good morning to all our SMEs and then my fellow panelists. It's a tight word for me, but this is a conversation I don't want to miss. And so I had to make time to join. Now, when it comes to risk management and insurance, it is very critical for us as bankers. For SMEs, I mean, insurance shouldn't be seen as an expense. It should be seen as investment into business community, continuity. Now, when SMEs come to us to request for loan financing and all of that, there are things that we consider, collateral capacity, and some of these things, insurance and risk management is embedded in it. It's very key. We would want to know how your business can survive when there's a setback, how your business can continue when there's a setback. I've dealt with a lot of SMEs. A lot of times, SMEs want to shy away from insurance and risk management practices and all of that. But I have also seen businesses that have been built that in a minute, in a second, because of setback, flood, fire, theft, fraud issues, that everything is wiped out. And so for us as bankers, coming to us for investments, if you're coming to us for financing, we would want to know that your business is going to thrive when there's a setback. And that is why risk management and insurance is important. You want to know that the money that we are giving to you, should there be fire, should there be water, flood, should there be theft, should there be fraud, will the business continue for us to be able to retrieve our money? And so that is how important it is. Beyond financing, we would also want to know the continuity of the business. Will the business be able to continue? Will the business be able to thrive, move on, and grow? We see a lot of businesses investing a lot in growth, But what I would say is that growth is good, but it has to be protected. And that is why this conversation is important. SMEs, we need to embed risk management and insurance into our businesses so our businesses can thrive, so we can protect our capital, so that bankers and investors can have confidence in us that our businesses will thrive beyond any setback. Back to you, Kelvin.
Thank you so much, Madam Eugenia. I think that's pretty much explains it. So from your point, an insurance is not an expense, it's actually an investment. And
Yeah.
then bankers, it's good that you mentioned this today. So bankers want to know how our businesses will survive when there's a setback. I think it's very important, because if bankers are giving you the kind of capital you need to run your business, it's only fair that we understand that your business will survive the setbacks that we are exposed to. That brings me to the risk that Madam Kosi mentioned in her submission, and then it also tells me that insurance is still accessible when you the insurance that Enoch Akwa spoke about is still accessible when you talk about the technology that Maxwell Dawson mentioned about. Thank you so much, Madam Eugenia. Sorry. So we need to find the right structures to protect our capital, and then give confidence to not just the bankers, but to the general public that our businesses that we patronize every day would be here for tomorrow and then the foreseeable future. Thank you so much. I would want to ask all panelists at this time an interesting question, which is that if you had 1 minute to convince every SME owner watching here today, and this goes to the attention of all the all the other participants that we have online. If our panelists were to spend a minute and they were to tell you to invest in protecting your businesses, our panelists, what would you tell our participants? You have just about a minute to ask them or to convince them about investing in their business. I'll start with Madam Kosi, please.
I guess the one message I would leave with the entrepreneur today is that your business is one of your greatest investments. So you protect it with the same intentionality with which you are building it. So if you're intentional about building your business, you'll be intentional about protecting what is dear to you, which is your business, because ownership is yours. So you've worked so hard to build your business, then you leave it to the future to chance. So every entrepreneur understands the importance of investing in inventory and assets and, in all the technology or skilled employees and marketing, because they are easy and they are visible, really visible drivers of what business growth should look like. Yet protecting those very investments is often overlooked. So my simple message to them is that as much as you're investing in these assets and all these things that will grow your businesses, be intentional in ensuring that you're protecting those assets. Be serious about it, because you can't assume that if you are planning or if you are protecting your business, it's a sign of expected failure. Because sometimes the people will say that, oh, if I'm protecting, that means I don't have faith in my business, or I don't have faith in God that this business will survive. But you have to plan and realize that it is that same faith in the business that you're using to plan for success and being intentional about the work you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Kosi. We will be intentional about it. I'll take perspective from Mr. Enoch Akwa.
Thank you very much, Nee, once again. Like you said, like Kosi just said, you have to be very intentional about securing your business, because your business is your livelihood. Your business is your source of income. The good book, if you're a Christian and you believe that because of that nothing will happen to you, the good book even tells you that where your properties are, that is where your properties are, that is where your heart is. So you should know that where your money comes from, that is where your heart should be most, and you have to secure your heart from unavoidable heartbreak, like the risk that could come alongside with your business. So insurance now is a critical part of every business. I always say that if you look at the most of the foreign companies that do business, especially in Ghana, you don't have to convince them to buy insurance. It's part of their planning, business planning. They are very conscious of protecting their risk. And so they factor it into their business plan and they make every conscious effort to have it. Okay. And therefore, we in Ghana have to also adopt this same attitude. Okay. And ensure that insurance is fundamental to the business that we do, because you cannot separate the risk from the businesses that you do. And so you must at least have the basic insurance to ensure that you have that peace of mind to source your capital, to develop your markets, to sell your products, and to make your profits without worrying about what will happen if there was fire, if there was a robbery, if there was a flood, or there is an impact or anything associated with your business. So that's the little I would say, that let's make risk mitigation a critical part of our business planning and make every conscious effort to ensure that we transfer all our risk to insurance companies, and so that we can have the hope that if anything happens, compensation will be assured. Thank you, Nee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aqua. Mr. Aqua says that where your properties or your treasures are, that is where your heart is. Thank you very much for that. And so I'll go over to Mr. Maxwell Dawson. And the question is, if you had 1 minute to convince every SME owner watching today to invest in protecting their businesses, what would your message be?
Thank you very much, Nee. So I'll start for like my colleagues have said. I'll say that hope is not a strategy. In our part of the world, everything we hope yamebe, but in business, hope is not a strategy. You already invest your time. You are spending money paying salaries, and sometimes it's difficult paying rent and all the inventory. The least you could do is to spend 200 cedis, 500 cedis, 1,000 cedis to buy a business protection on your phone. And that money spent is not an expense. It becomes the real strategy. So business protection is the real strategy. Hope is not a strategy. When you are going about waking up every day, doing all the hard work, the only thing that will give you the comfort and to grow, knowing that if something happened, your business will still live and continue, is that mega amount that you are contributing or spending to protect your business. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Maxwell Dawson. Hope is not a strategy. That's what Mr. Maxwell Dawson says. And then to wrap up that this part of the conversation, I would want to ask from Access Bank, Madam Eugenie Adu, your thoughts. If you had 1 minute to convince every SME owner watching today to invest in protecting their business, what would your message be?
So thank you, Nee. Working with SMEs for over 17 years, I would want to admonish SMEs to shift their mindset from seeing insurance as an expense, but rather as a strategy for thriving. Every day that a business goes without protection, it's like you are gambling with your capital. And like I said, I would reiterate it. I have seen businesses lose their capital because that they do not have insurance. And so I would admonish every SME listening to us, anybody else who's on the call, let's see insurance as a business survival strategy rather than the expense, so that we don't gamble with our capital, or we don't even gamble with the funding that we have received. So our businesses will be built to last. Not that we're just building businesses for the now, but we are looking into the long-term continuity, future in mind. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Eugenia. Strategy for thriving. We should look at insurance as a strategy for thriving, not just as an expense. And we should look at our businesses as the instruments that are supposed to be with us today and to go into the future with us. And to do that, we need to make sure that they are adequately protected. Thank you so very much. I have a couple of questions coming in, and then I'll take some of them for our panelists. I'll be directing the questions to the most relevant panelists to answer that question. And so I have a question here that is asking that technology has opened enormous opportunities for SMEs, but it has also introduced new risks such as cyber fraud, identity theft, digital scams, and then data breaches. How can businesses embrace digital innovation while protecting themselves? I think this question will best be answered by Mr. Maxwell Dawson. The question again is, technology has opened enormous opportunities for SMEs, but has also introduced new risks such as cyber fraud, identity theft, digital scams, and data breaches. How can businesses embrace digital innovation while protecting themselves? Please do us the honors, Mr. Dawson.
Thank you very much, Nee. And like you have said, yes, we've mentioned consistently, technology is one thing that will take businesses from where they are today to the future they envisage. But on that journey is the threat that we are envisaging. So all the risk that we have spoken about, one of the risks that businesses should be mindful is that data, cyber fraud are all things that will impact a business more randomly than we envisage. So any business that is adopting technology must practice what we call basic cyber hygiene. So if it is ensuring that you are using strong passwords, ensuring that you are training your staff on cyber security, ensuring that you are training your staff on phishing, that people can send emails that look very genuine, but they are meant to redirect you to places that you don't want to be. Ensuring that you have built checks into your processes that will ensure that you don't overly expose your business to the attacks that are there in our world today, right? So the adoption of technology must go with a security mindset, that as you adopt technology, understand that you have the responsibility of safeguarding your business, your interests, and training your staff to understand the challenges that the digital age comes with. That process must be a continuous process. If it means building monthly, quarterly refresher courses for your teams and doing random checks to be sure that you are not taking unawares. But in today's age, the biggest threat may not come out of the door. They may come through our emails. They may come through a phone. They may come through a suspicious or unsuspecting call to a team member who has not been well equipped. And that can wipe out years of investment. It can bring reputational losses that can disrupt the reputation we've built over time. So yes, we need to adapt technology. We need to open ourselves to the possibility that the digital age brings, but we need to be very, very mindful and be prepared. The same way you keep your personal hygiene, keep what we call the basic cyber hygiene. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Stresses on cyber hygiene. I hope that answers our participants watching online. And then I'll take a few more questions before we wrap up this session. And this question would best go to Mr. Enoch Akwa. And the question is, if a small business experiences a major incident, such as a fire, flood, or theft, and even burglary, what practical steps should the owner take within the first 24 to 48 hours? And how does insurance support business recovery? I'll take that question again. If a business experiences a major incident such as theft, flood, fire, or burglary, if that happens tomorrow, what practical steps should the owner take within the first 24 to 48 hours? And how does insurance support business recovery? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Nee. So if any of such incidents happens and you have insurance in place already for your business, if it's fire, just ensure that you are able to put out the fire. If you have to call the National Fire Service to come in to help, please do. Whatever step you can take to make sure that the fire is put out completely, please do it. That's the immediate thing that you should do. After that, take stock of or inform us, the insurance company, of the incident, so that we can also come and then do an assessment and then take stock of all the things that have been damaged and get us an invoice. If the fire service were there, let us get a report from them as part of the documents that you will send to us for our claims processing. So if we have the invoice, we have pictures of the incident that has happened, and we have come to assess the place to confirm everything that has occurred, then we go ahead and process your claim for you and pay compensation to you. If it's flood, after the flood has subsided, get us pictures or videos of everything that has happened, and then go through the same process. Get us an invoice of all the things that were damaged by the flood. If it's robbery, report to the police. Let the police come and do their investigations and then give us a report on the incidents that has happened. And then we will take it up from there. Also give us an invoice of the things that have been stolen or damaged as a result of the robbery. And then we'll take it up from there and process your claim for you. So it's as simple as that. And these processes we will go through to ensure that you get compensated for everything that you have lost. So it's as if you've lost nothing, even though designed to ensure that your business continues without any hitches, no matter what happens. So this is why we advise that if you don't have insurance, you have it now, because it's very critical to your business. Thank you, Nee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akwa. Thank you. Thank you so much for that insight. I'm sure participants online are paying attention to what we need to do. I mentioned earlier that this conversation is going to be based on practical insights. And so therefore that response goes to answer the immediate actions between the 24 and 48 hours after you experience a risk. And the most important thing I'm picking from there is that you have something to do if the disaster strikes when you have an insurance cover in place. If you don't have an insurance cover in place, you'll find yourself wanting. And so we would
If I may, I will just add something to what Enoch said, right? It's also very important that you inform your bankers. If you're a borrowing customer, you need to inform us early enough that this is what has happened, so that we'll see how we can support your business. Sometimes we can restructure the facility for you. Sometimes we can also help in the engagement with the insurance company. So if you're a borrowing customer and you find yourself in such situation, please inform your bankers as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Eugenia. And I like this discussion and where it's going, because we now see how interconnected all these conversations or all these touch points are, from the bank to the insurance company to the support groups to partnerships and to technology, and every other aspect of your business is covered and is intertwined in making sure that you build a resilient business. SMEs, like we said in the beginning, are the backbone to every economy. SMEs are making up for over nearly 90% or over 90% of businesses in Ghana. And today we are talking about protecting your business, preparing for the risk every day business owner faces. And if you're a business owner, whether small, large, medium scale, or micro, this is the conversation for you. And then the takeaways are resounding, and then we need to put actions to this. But when Enoch was speaking, I'm sure it became a bit difficult to imagine what typically happens after you suffer a loss. We had so much complaints June 29th when the flood struck, and after that we had some cleanup exercises around town, and there were all efforts towards restructuring our environment, recovering from the losses, and so on and so forth. But we have a video that we want to show our participants and even our panelists online to explain what insurance does for you after such a loss. And this is actually a testimonial. It's quite informative, and it will shape our discussion as we end the session today. So I'll go over to the technical team, and then they'll show us that testimonial. Thank you.
Me din di Philomena Kweno, me a beautician. Me shop on the dear Dasuye, Mina's Beauty Parloid. Me wonungwa A Life Junction. Nienti a ma me to BPI product and say. Na me wadan phobia or ye the same mejuma way be. Na inso toye e ma ne say in the shop. Omo koy no mutimi boa no. Iti okasa no e kan me na me so okay and dem so ma me tobi. Iti me toye no anche na inso be say me shop no Tuesday anopa me ofia na baby me shop ni wo no obi wo ho be me shop e na ofre me say sister Philo wo shop no inso akomo nte ebe ya abra na be hwe in fact okan no me mu hye me ti me ba shop a me ba no kre na me shop ni mu nyina yinsuo je say me nyoma bebre asay it me ba na me bie shop no ho na me kai say ma to BPI products and I'm from most one amoso etu anamo ba be hwe ye be hu sampa me shop no emunyama no asay me buy am be bie shop na me hu so in fact me yemu shame because shop 4 years shop just seconds na se me ba be hwe na se emu asay a ha me ye ha me pa na so me frɛ baby am to me product me frɛ omo no omo ndi me hwamo sani omo be kan ya ma me de toy no saa na omo ye ma me pepepe atro bia animu every time I so ni yes na me frɛ omo bae no nukru anim na me fi say omo ma nyoma mu aye din ama me but omo bae ya be hwɛ ye ni omo hia ya ne say nyoma okotoy the receipt e twa say saa nyoma wo toy eno pani ade a omo be hia omo sa kasa de ne pe bibia omo be di so se be kan obi bia pepepe entro bia animu na me metimi aka kire omo ne say eye ntro na me twa so far as me aka say bia atu a omo metimi aboa me ne de eye ntro me call ho a me kwaji mi sika no me bibia say bia nyame ado metimi ato bibia ne eye me fempo ni say me call ho a makwaji sika no omo san ma me gift esa de ka ompo na me kwa me ni nda say me ya sa gift no eti me ka kire mo so bia nye bi na be bo mo nyina coronation dear every time wa inso be say me shop ni mo no wo fra mo anajo anopa ewia omo je super pepe omo nkan je osef ka bro office bibia na me fra mo me WhatsApp ya wo fra mo soso a omo be fa into mo wo ho ma ye mbre bia sisi a me saka me nyoma say sika no ebeba me ni je because na me ni any that so baby na me bed man me ni ska me do akofa saa nyoma no but through omunti no etimi enya ti ama me ni age pa ti me dem me kan for amamo is good sell better product no is good pa me encourage BPI product no ama business owner bia e good sell better so na be ya atorancham to a won kwadwen se me kwaji loan me kwaji se omo wo ho mbe boa mo pepepe e wo no kremu ena product no so ne toy enye din bia o ne hia ne so obefa wo phone akomomo momo app ana obebo *170 *5*5# unya aboa eno ade obeko ho pepepe BPI secure your hustle.
That was a good one. Need I say more? I think that testimonial alone covers technology, covers risk, covers finance, covers business recovery, and everything else that we have discussed this morning. I would love to watch this over and over and over again, from the time that she bought the product to her neighbors commenting on their experiences, to her own experience. One of the things that I like, she said, is that she didn't have to come over to her head office before she made a claim and before her payment was made. The joy on her face when she gives this testimonial is also a true testament to how easy business recovery was to her. And let's not forget what Madam Eugenia had mentioned, that even when you suffer a risk, be sure to inform your bankers, inform your insurers, and we not only pay your claims, but we give you quite a good experience. It's pretty much sums up everything that we have discussed today, and I'm so much excited about that testimonial. I'll come over to my panelists. For the participants that are joining us online and all across our social media platforms, we would want to sum up the conversations in just a few words. And so my panelists are going to tell us, they are going to finish the statements for us. A resilient business is one that, come to my panelists to finish that for us. But I want to say once again, thank you so much for being here with us, for being part of the conversation, for sending your questions and your comments in. Once again, this is brought to you by Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited. And we are supported by our technology partners and then our fintech partners and our banking partners to make this possible. And we are saying that business protection insurance is it's a package that gives us a good answer to all the gray areas that we've been talking about since morning, the risk around our businesses. When Madam Kosi was speaking, she spoke about technology risk and then climate-related risk, financial vulnerabilities, and so on. And like I said, this testimonial that we just watched, forget that it looks like an advert, but it really addresses all the pain areas that every growing business encounters. So I'll go over to my panelists now, and then I'll start with Madam Kosi. Madam Kosi, a resilient business is one that
prepares for uncertainty with the same determination that it pursues opportunity.
Could you say that for me once again, please?
A resilient business is one that prepares for uncertainty with the same determination and push that it uses to pursue opportunity.
Amazing. I'll write that down and use it as a quote somewhere. Thank you very much. I'll go over to Mr. Inokakwa. Mr. Inokakwa, a resilient business is one that...
Yes, a resilient business is one that has put together measures to ensure that no matter what happens, the business will continue to move on and still be sustainable and still cater for its customers and all of its stakeholders. That is a resilient business to me.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. We are understanding what businesses are, what resilient businesses are. There's a difference. I'll come to Mr. Maxwell Dawson. Mr. Maxwell Dawson, a resilient business is one that...
Thank you, Nee. A resilient business is one that prepares for shocks, gets ready to deal with the challenges that it faces, and protect its critical assets, people, resources.
Super amazing. That's from the technology point of view. I like that. And then last but not least, I'd like to take from Madam Eugenia Ado. Madam Eugenia, I would ask you again, a resilient business is one that...
So a resilient business is one that prepares for tomorrow while succeeding today. So one that recovers quickly with setback to continue to create value. So yeah, that's a resilient business. One that prepares for tomorrow while succeeding today. One that recovers quickly with setback to continue to create value.
Super. Thank you so much, Madam Eugenia. And interestingly, every panelist that has completed this sentence spoke about preparedness. And so for me, a resilient business is one that prepared to join the webinar today and is going to put into action all what we have discussed from this session. Key takeaways, impressive takeaways. I am more educated, I'm more excited, and I am more ready to go out there and then ensure my business and tell every business that is around me to ensure. I don't want any business owner knocking on my door in the morning to ask me for a loan. because they did not prepare. So I'll make sure everybody out there buys a business protection insurance. And at this point, I'd like to say thank you so much to our panelists for sharing these valuable insights. It's been amazing. I thank all the participants for bringing in the questions. My tech team, thanks for all the support that you have given me making this possible. As we come towards the end of today's webinar, I'd like to share a few key reflections from our discussion. First is that every business faces risk, but risk that these businesses encounter need to get some preparation from us as business owners, or business owners need to put in some preparation to manage these risks as they occur. We need to prepare early, and we need to be better positioned to survive and grow when these risks occur. The second is that resilience requires more than ambition. Resilience requires more than ambition. It requires strong financial management, good governance, technology awareness, risk planning, and then the right partnerships. We got a lot of that from today. The third takeaway, that I would like to share with the house today is that protecting a business is not about expecting the worst. It's not about expecting the worst or committing the unforeseen circumstances into God's hands, but it's about ensuring that even when the challenges arise, the business has the capacity to recover and continue. So part of God's plan is for you to insure your business. I'll say that again, protecting the business is not about expecting the worst. It's about ensuring that when challenges arise, the business has the capacity to recover and to continue. I would like to thank our keynote speaker, especially Madam Kosi Yankiaye, our panelists, Mr. Enoch Akwa, Mr. Maxwell Dawson, and then Madam Eugenia Ado. And it's been a good conversation so far, and we'd like to wrap it up. We'd like to wrap up with the same leader that we started the conversation with. I will go over to Mr. Abayomi Ogunshola. Once again, I introduce him. Mr. Abayomi Ogunshola is the head of technical operations at Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited. A bit of a background, he's the leader of the team that developed this amazing business protection insurance covering flood, fire, theft to SMEs, MSMEs across the country, and providing some sort of cover and some sort of confidence for them as they go through their program. So, Mr. Abayomi Ogunshola, I'd like to invite you to provide the closing remarks for this session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nee. Thank you very much. I think before I proceed, I just want to state my own meaning of resilient business. A resilient business to me is the one that plans. Yes, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So if you don't plan and you hope, then you are rather planning to fail. Therefore, I would suggest that you protect your risk, you protect your businesses, you sustain your business, you grow your business, and then you increase your profit. On this note, as we come to the end of today's webinar, I would like to sincerely thank our key speakers, our panelists, our partner, and every participant who joined us today. I hope today's discussion have reinforced one important message. Every business, regardless of its size, deserves protection, insurance protection, business insurance protection from Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited. The cost of preparing for risk is always far less than the cost of recovering from them. At Coronation Insurance Ghana, we remain committed to supporting the Ghanaian businesses with practical insurance solutions and protect against risks such as fire, flood, theft, and other unexpected events, allowing entrepreneurs to focus on growing with confidence. If today's conversation has inspired you to take the next step, our team at Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited will be happy to receive your calls and to guide you through our business protection insurance solution that we have purposely designed for the progress, continuity, and sustainability of your business, and answer questions that you may have for us. Thank you once again for the time, your engagement, and the trust in Coronation Insurance Ghana. We look forward to partnering with you to build stronger and more resilient businesses. Have a wonderful day and stay protected with Coronation Insurance, Business Protection Insurance. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abayemi Ogunshola. That closes the session today. It's been wonderful having you here once again. Please pass by our offices. We are in the ARC building at Asokwa in Kumasi. Join us there, have a conversation with us. We help you manage risk. Join us at the 35 Aviation Road Airport Residential Area next to Nyaho Hospital. That's where our head office is. We'll be able to engage you in an amazing product that would serve your business. We have agency offices across the length and breadth of the country. We are serving you and then helping you to manage your risk. If you want a copy of this session to watch or to play back, you can get us at Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited on YouTube. You can play back the whole session, but join us on our social media handles, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Facebook, and interact with us. It's been a beautiful morning, and it's been nice sharing this moment with you, and it's been a very educative session. And thank you so much. I hope the insights will help your business to grow. You take practical steps towards building stronger, safer, and more resilient businesses. Thank you once again. Do have a wonderful day. My name is Lee Neti. Goodbye.
Life moves fast. Your insurance should move with you. If you prefer more flexibility, there's now another way to pay. Introducing Pay As You Earn Motor Insurance from Coronation. A flexible payment option. Pay monthly or quarterly. Visit ecoronation.com. Select Pay As You Earn Motor Insurance. Pay with mobile money and get insured instantly. Pay As You Earn Motor Insurance. A flexible option on eCoronation. Call us now for details.
Pay small, drive covered.